I feel as though this needs a preface. This game is from a Christian perspective, and I am not Christian as it happens. I am actually Jewish. Since I am Jewish, I am going to be presenting a Jewish perspective on both this game and the biblical passage that it references. I would also like to say that I know the timing of this is super convenient and that we're really close to the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but it really was a random roll. So it's really weird. I will say that it's awfully convenient, but it really was random. The Binding of Isaac is a modern adaptation of the biblical story of Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac from the point of view of Isaac. But just because Abraham is commanded to sacrifice Isaac, that does not mean that Isaac is commanded to let him. In this game, there is no distinction between Bible TV and God, which is how most of America sees it, and personally, I think that's unfortunate. If you haven't played the game, the story goes like this. Isaac's mom watches religious TV continuously. One day, a voice from above tells her to take away all her child's possessions, and she complies. Then the voice from above tells her to lock him in his room, and she complies. Then it tells her to go kill him, so she sets out towards his room to kill him. Shockingly, Isaac doesn't want to be sacrificed, so he finds a trapdoor in the middle of his room and escapes naked into some mysterious catacombs. I guess under the house. So that's basically the game. But it's about more than just this one game. There's a weird history involved with religion and gaming. Most religious games are just bad. They are boring, or the controls don't work, or the game is broken, and sometimes, well, frequently, they are rip-offs of other more popular games. All I can do is ask why, especially that boring part. That, to me, is one of the biggest crimes. Are we reading from different Bibles? It's not like the endings vary depending on which edition you have. Why is this all so boring? Noah's Ark, one of the most used ideas for video games, is also one of the most uninteresting Bible stories. Why is this one of the most commonly used stories for games? Why not David and Goliath, or Judith and her friends, or Samson? Hell, there are even more compelling passages in Exodus. Why do we keep going back to Noah collecting the animals? It comes down to this. Religious people think that the only way to present the Bible to children is to give them clean, non-violent stories without any greater moral issues or gradation. Everything needs to be black and white and clean. But that isn't the Bible. The Bible is messy and obtuse, and there's a lot of moral gradation. That, I think, is an intrinsic part of not just religion or the Bible, but being a religious person. What I'm getting at is that the Bible is a huge, complicated thing, and many parts of it do not easily conform to a video game format. So here is this game out of nowhere. The Binding of Isaac. It is fun, it is original, and you can play it without tearing all your hair out because, unlike most religious games, the controls work. My problem with all religious games is the same as my problem with literalists. They want it to all be clean and far away. All the moral issues of the Bible aren't real. They are just fairy tales and don't impact us. But that's not the case. The Bible is messy and strange, it is full of fantastic metaphors, and it contains moral gradation. And in flies the Binding of Isaac. The problem with this part of the Bible is its child abuse. Undeniably, Abraham goes out somewhere remote, ties down his kid, and gets ready to kill him. Honestly, I don't think that was how the story was supposed to go. I think it was a test that Abraham failed. There are numerous heroes in the Bible who say no to God, but the story doesn't just end with no. In any case, I digress. These are the questions that should be part of any religious study and worship, and they can make cursory examinations of the Bible very difficult. Who on earth thinks games are a good format for religion? It's like that joke. Why do we want government involved in marriage? The problem with that joke is that there is an answer for when things go wrong. I think that's part of the purpose of religion. Why do we need religion? For when you have no clue what you should do. Is it okay to not sacrifice yourself for the right thing? Depends on what is right. Another important question that this game asks is, can you sacrifice someone else for what's right? That's a scary question for everyone, not just those who define themselves as religious, but for atheists and agnostics as well. That is one of the things that really makes this game great. It doesn't shy away from a difficult question like that. Here's where we get to the meat of the issue. If religion can't produce a playable game, and they don't want to approach the really tough questions in what is supposed to be a fun format, then how did this game get made? Easy. It's not supposed to be a religious game. The creator had bad experiences with religion and the religious, and that is definitely reflected in the game. The game is chock full of religious symbolism and metaphor, mostly from the New Testament. You fight monsters like Beelzebub and find paraphernalia like prayer beads to help you on your journey. Sounds like you're playing on the side of the angels, right? But you can also get other items like the Necronomicon or your cat's decapitated head to also help you. Well, that's nice and ambiguous. It is made even more confusing when you find the unlockable characters like Cain, Magdalene, and Judas, all famous sinners. So is it a religious game or isn't it? Well, it's a religious-themed game where you go into a place that is unambiguously filled with evil and fight for your body and soul using your own tears and blood as weapons. So yeah, it's religious. It's just not the kind of game that spoon-feeds you answers or meanings. Most of the playable characters are sinners who either have repented or had the option to repent. And just because Isaac's mother is commanded to sacrifice him doesn't mean he has been commanded to let her. I don't think that the creator of this game wanted to be religion positive. But the nice thing about art is that it can mean something different to the viewer than the creator. To me, the Bible is something you should interact with and think about. For example, I read the Garden of Eden as being a metaphor for childhood, and the development of modesty as a sign that a child is leaving the garden. If you were in the same situation, would you do what Moses did? Have you gone through your own wilderness and found your way out again? Would you have Lot's courage to ask God to spare someone if there is even the slightest chance that they are capable of good? The Binding of Isaac is the type of game that lets people play out one of those questions. That, to me, is what makes this not only a good religious game, but the best religious game. And next time on Review Roulette. Number 13.
And number 13 is, oh boy.
What?
It is my review, How to Improve Twilight.
We'll see you next time.
I really don't like this.